Welcome here at your financial buddy. And today we will be discussing taxes. This is something that I take to heart. It's January, which means it's around that tax season here in the US. I used to be one of those, and I hope you're not. I used to be one of those who question taxes. Why do we have to pay taxes? Why does you know a person have to pay taxes? Then I realized, I'm like, hold up, I do love my community, my environment. I love all services that are given. Anything public related that is well managed, there are employees in there. When I'm catching trains, buses, and anything, and as of recent, I was thinking, I'm like, all these things are maintained by someone. I'm able to pay very low fee, never question why. And as of 2 years ago, I was like, hold up, I pay for those stuff. So I better stop being mad for every time my paycheck comes and the paycheck is missing a few dollars in it. Up to 25% of your paycheck, every paycheck goes to taxes. That's if you're a W-2 employee. So I'm like, now I understand. So taxes, it's the main source of revenue to the government. By revenue, the government gets that money. Basically, the government collects it and disperses it to different services. That's basically what taxes are. Now, as far as that's concerned, I've met many people who are not actually aware that they could do their own taxes. That's the part that we'll be covering last in the video. Now, let's talk about, we said individuals, or at least for this time, we are saying individuals, corporation, all pay taxes collectively. And I know, and I'm one of those who are, new in paying taxes, but at least I understand why I pay taxes. Because if I'm able to see the environment around me and actually love it, I have to know why it's great. Around the, any cities you go to. I've also lived in countries where the environment is not as good. Then I came to realize they just don't pay as many taxes. Whether or not the taxes that we pay exactly go towards the bucket that funds these great services that I happen to love wherever I live, I don't know and I don't care. But all I know, I do my part. Now, for you too, I said taxes, either everyone pay taxes, either an individual or corporation, everyone pay taxes. Let me see my notes. So taxes come in, you pay taxes with every paycheck. We hear some taxes just go for in different, routes. Some go to Medicare, Medicaid. You're talking about different systems. We don't get to see who funds these public buildings, public services. We don't see it because what we did was to just dump a little percentage of what we make into the big bucket, IRS, and IRS does the rest. With that said, let's talk about tax forms. When you get your taxes at the end, in this month, and you are ready to file, of course, some of the things that have to be on this tax is the amount. Money just doesn't come from the sky. All that money that is shown on those taxes was withheld from you. You also have to, of course, report how much you have made, either through your W-2s or your 1099. W-2s come with tax already withdrawn or taken. 1099s, or people who are working independently and stuff like that, the taxes are, you are given your money, your paycheck. For example, those who drive Uber, those who drive Lyft, people who work independent contractors tend to get their money directly without the taxes being deducted. And then when filing, this is when the government is trying to, recalculate who needs to pay what and stuff like that. So don't be scared. It's part of, if you love where you live, if you appreciate the fact the fact that you are able to go to work nicely and strongly, thank the government on those behalf. So I'm now one of these people who will tell you, I know there is many ways that you can pay less taxes, and as I will cross that bridge when I get there, where you are able to create so much value in the community that usually what you give is almost as equal as what you get, and vice versa. I also know people who don't pay taxes because they were able to either donate, give charities and stuff like that. Oh, they pay a reduced tax. Those are also there. Public infrastructure, like we said, needs to get built. Your cities, your towns, your streets, your roads, everything needs to look amazing and on point. No ditches, nothing. The government is taking care of that. And of course, you are helping in that process. And that's amazing. What types of income? I mean, what types of taxes? There's income tax, and of course, just like the way it sounds, income tax is the tax that you pay on the money that you earn. There is what taxes are there? There is taxes on merchandise. There is taxes as a corporation, which means that corporation is paying taxes in different ways. And hey, it's not mine. They also file taxes just like me and you. We all file taxes, and it's amazing. I know to few people who have just graduated like me. I used to be one of these people who I thought of how much I was losing before I was even earning. Now, the rule is the more you earn, the more is taxed, because taxes are in percentage. If you earn $100, you could pay anywhere between 8 and 25%, or sometimes up to 50% if you earn so much. But I'm just giving you, if you earn 100, you could pay in taxes somewhere between 8 and 25 out of 100. Now you can scale these numbers and see how much that would be. And at least that research, I've done it for myself, and I've come to understand why. I mean, we pay money here and there for different services. Why not taxes? Different ways you can file taxes, as single, as married, and as corporations, and different ways. Tax deduction. This is basically just the money that you could easily claim back. The government, let me say, tells you you are paying, or you'll be paying, for example, 3,000, right? Or the government has taken 3,000 from you. Tax deduction are valuable things to either you being alive, you being in service, you working, that the government tends to basically forgive. By forgive, it's sort of like to understand that this money wasn't for personal reasons, wasn't for selfish reasons, and have the money, because even when they held it back, the truth is you probably would be running into negatives. That's tax deduction. So these things would help you to reduce tax. There is also what they call the tax credit, which means there is that one reduces how much the government charges you. Tax deduction are things you did that you can claim tax back on, because the government already probably held the tax, or you owe the government so much tax, according to. And if you have things that you did, services that you rendered, money that you donated, you could easily tell the government, hold up, I did spend this, and you have evidence, blah, 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 and the government is gonna release that money to you or send it to you in certain ways. We will come back to the tax deduction as well as the tax credits, but meanwhile, everyone's eyes is always on the tax refund. Ooh, that's a big one. Even thinking about it makes people want to have January come quicker, because the tax refund just means how much money you get back from the government. That's what it is. After you've done your taxes, the government is like, okay, so we owe you 500 because either of the deduction or the tax credit, depending on what the case is, or because you don't make enough money. that also would have you have a tax deduction. Or you've spent so much money, you're getting the point. So you've spent so much money on some value, some business, some whatever, and the government is like, we can have you have this money back. That's where the tax refund comes from, and that's a good thing. Just remember, when you get a tax refund, it's not magic. That's your money, So don't misuse the money that you are getting back by chance, by luck from the government, that it was probably overcharged based off of what you offered. Don't mistreat that money. A rule of thumb, go invest that money. If it came and you didn't budget for it because you didn't have it, the government always took it, that money is the sweetest money to either invest, to save, put into your rainy day. But buying things that depreciate, not a good idea. I know a few friends who use their tax return or tax refund to fund their own unjustified means. They buy stuff that they probably don't need, and then they lose on the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, at least to my explanation, these are things that this is probably money. For example, let me just explain in terms of money. This is money that if you held on today, it would be probably worth however many times in future. So the $20 now that you are spending now, if there is a chance that in 20 years the $20 would be $2,000, the opportunity cost sort of is like 2,000 minus 20, and that much you've lost because you spent $20 now. I mean, in 5 years, I'm not saying $20 will become 2,000, but I'm just giving you an example. Opportunity cost is what this $20 you messed up today could be in future. That's what it is. The other one is, I would say, taxes, W-2s. We've spoken about that. Taxes are paid through, when you are working a W-2 job, that's how you pay taxes. We spoke about taxes are used for revenues. We also spoke about one common type of taxes, at least as far as everyone is concerned, is the income tax. The main source of revenue is taxes. I think we can end there. So thank you for tuning in. And again, today's topic is about taxes. We are in January, the time of which many people are looking into filing their taxes. Before I go, please make sure that the person that is doing your taxes, or if you are doing the taxes for yourself, they're not putting wrong information for the purpose of getting some tax deduction or tax credits, because the government always comes back and have that money. I've had friends who have had people filing their taxes wrongly and they pay the price. So be careful and ciao.